Welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Jonny Sue is definitely spinning on those ones and twos. Fam,
you're so corny. You need to move to Iowa and stay
why
there.
Iowa? You just told the people
corny.
in Iowa they're corny.
No, it's a joke. It's as corny as you are.
The corn in Iowa, they're not like actually corny. You're talking about the corn in Iowa. I get it. Let me see. Okay, so we have 40 people back on. Jesus Samora is there. Jesus Samora, Jason V, Chris David, Uncle Drew. And we got about 12 people watching on the MCSC network. I am trying to bring up the YouTube feed, the Facebook feed. And remember, if you haven't gone over to our Rockfin, please do. That's a very important, special place for us. I'd like to say we'll be streaming the debates on the 19th. And I'm sure we'll talk about that as far as what's going to happen. And we'll get to that at the end of the end of the video. So let's get going on this. This is the Epstein video. Welcome to the show. We didn't want to do one whole video because there's a lot of Epstein stuff to cover. There's a ton of stuff going on. Pretty much the question or the theme of what's going on right now is, has the dam been busted open? You know, I've been a little bit hesitant to cover a lot of Epstein stuff because I see what's unfolding before our eyes, and I see nobody's being held accountable for it. However, it seems like the Brits, they get a lot of blame for everything that goes around in the world, but they seem to be pushing forward, fam. At least their media has been finding a lot of kinks in the armor. Some people think it's just a fad right now because it's Prince Andrew was involved. But yeah. Any opinions or questions you want to talk about before we jump into this?
Well, I mean, I think not covering it is a terrible idea because we're the only people that are going to cover indie media. That is, I know Graham's been doing a great job of covering it, the political vigilante. Most people aren't really going to find out about this stuff unless we cover it. And even if, the United States wants to pretend that nothing's happening and they want to turn a blind eye to it, I think it's essential that it's covered. And you were doing such a great job of covering it. And people have been asking us to cover it. So I'm glad you're bringing it back.
Okay. So let's jump into it. First of all, we had the Prince Andrew, who I like to call him Asshole Andrew because I don't like to use the title. He just gets to dress up every once in a while. He's not royalty at all. He's just a guy who wears a suit every once in a while. But he had an interview. BBC kind of forced him into a corner, and he eventually accepted the interview. Now, I'm only going to play one part of this interview right now because I just want to talk about his whole ideology and how stupid it was because more stuff has come over the weekend. And who Prince Andrew involved himself with. But this is the most weirdest part of the whole interview, fam, because after Epstein was a convicted sex offender, Andrew's excuse for going to see him was to tell him he didn't want to see him anymore. Take a look at this one part. And I encourage everybody to go ahead and watch this whole interview. But this is how the elitists operate. They think they can just openly say stupid shit like this. Go ahead.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there.
No.
He was released in July. Within months, by December of 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted sex offender?
Right. I have always, ever since this has happened, and since this has become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do? Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together. And I had a number of people counsel me in both directions, either to go and see him or not to go and see him. And I took the judgment call that because this was serious, and I felt that doing it over the telephone was the chicken's way of doing it. I had to go and see him and talk to him. And I went to see him, and I was doing a number of other things in New York at the time, and we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park, and that was the conversation coincidentally that was photographed, which was when I said to him, I said, look, because of what has happened, I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact. And by mutual agreement during that walk in the park, we decided that we would part company, and I left, I think it was the next day. And to this day, I never had any contact with him from that day forward.
What did he say when you told him that you were breaking up the friendship?
He was what I would describe as understanding.
Okay.
He didn't go in.
I don't want to play more of this, but fam, the whole ideology, and I need your opinion about this, when you're going to sit there and this guy's already served his time as a sex offender, and you're the royal prince or whatever, you have enough knowledge, you should know what's going on. But the fact that you have to go see him to say, I don't want to see you anymore. And not for nothing, they went on this interview. He spent 4 days there on that trip. 4 days he stayed at the house.
I mean, I think it's a really lame excuse. I mean, I see how people could be convinced that, okay, like, it's like breaking up. You don't want to break up with someone over a text message or over a phone call. You want to actually have a one-on-one meeting. So that part is normal, but what's not normal is the fact that he had a huge history, and the timing of it is obviously, he's doing this to cover his ass.
Yeah.
That's what it comes off of.
It does. And all they did was relieve him of his royalty duties. He's not really, gotten in trouble in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if
And
the
he
FBI
won't, I don't think.
I don't think so either. And it's kind of funny. First of all, I'd like to say, yes, in a relationship, I understand when you have to go see somebody and speak to them. But in this particular situation, when the guy's a sex offender, you just cut all ties right away, immediately. I mean, if you're the prince or whatever the hell you are, you're representing, England and all these other humanitarian things they're supposed to do, the royal things the royal family does. You don't go and see a sex offender again.
I mean, he was convicted. It's not like he was suspect of it. I understand if you're someone's friend, you're like, wait a minute, is this true?
Yeah.
Is this still happened? But he had been convicted of it already.
And the thing that was so disgusting is throughout this interview, and like I said, I encourage people to go watch that, he constantly talks about, well, really, I wasn't friends with Jeffrey as much. I was more friends with Ghislaine. Ghislaine's +1 was always Jeffrey, so then why'd you have to go talk to him? Why was it so serious that you have to say, hey, I don't think it's appropriate anymore to go see each other?
Right. It's like you're contradicting yourself here.
And they go into this interview and they talk about things. There are people who said Prince Andrew getting a foot massage from an underage girl. There was so many different things. But here's something else. We have to throw Harvey Weinstein in the mix because, once again, we're talking about all things connected. Prince Andrew, Harvey Weinstein, the Clintons. But the Mirror actually released an article, and this is a big picture that's going around. It's UK news, and it's a picture of, fam, would you not believe it, it's Jeffrey Epstein.
Hold on. Before we go into that, I just kind of want to show this other part of the interview that he just kind of straight up lies. And I think this is a good clip. Hold on.
That was December of 2010.
Yep.
He threw a party to celebrate his release, and you were invited as the guest of honour.
Oh, in 2010, there certainly wasn't a party to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner. If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
You were invited to that dinner as a guest of honour.
Well, I was there, so there was a dinner. I don't think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay. I was there at a dinner. Yeah. I'm
just trying to work this out because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long.
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were.
Yeah. The whole interview is filled with moments like that of him backtracking. And let me tell you something. The interview did a great job because she kind of lured Andrew in at certain times. He put down his defenses, and then you had a lot of those, oh, yeah, moments. Even when he was saying, some people counseled me not to go, some people counseled me to go. And she's like, well, who counseled you? And he was like, well, wait, it's my decision. Like backtracking, stepping back. So,
yeah, it's very obvious he's lying just based on his body language. His blinking, his movements. It's very, very obvious he's lying, and he's very uncomfortable when she brings that up because she's bringing up dates and undeniable information. She's like, "No, you were there.
Yeah,
there was a dinner in your honor," and he's like, "So
he does." And I didn't want to give this any legs because I didn't want to watch this. I didn't want to put this on the show because I knew he'd have no repercussions. And I was like, I'm not going to even talk about this. I mean, I was at that moment when I was just so deflated and depressed about this stuff that they're using children as currency and getting away with it. Now, what else pops up? Once again, we're talking about these British newspapers and these British outlets really leading the way. And it's a question, fam, down the road. But here it is again, Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein pictured at Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday with Ghislaine Maxwell. And there it is. You know, and this camera's been surfacing up. You know, I mean, they're all connected. Mm-hmm. The Weinsteins, the Clintons. There's the royal family 18th-year-old birthday party, and it's there. And the Daily Mail also did an article as well, because I have to constantly point out the Daily Mail and the work they do. But is there any excuse for Andrew to go see Jeffrey after he served a sentence? And now he was a convicted sex offender. That was my question. And we kind of talked about it. And my answer is unequivocally no. There was no excuse. Once he was a sex offender, if Andrew was serious about it, was a straight up honest guy, he would never see Jeffrey Epstein ever again. Johnny, your opinion about that? Was it okay for him to go see him after?
Hell no.
No. Fee?
No, not at all. I mean, it's obvious. It's not okay. And about the Harvey Weinstein connection, I just want to say, like, I was waiting for there to be a connection because it's a given. I mean, they're both pedophiles. They're both sex offenders, and they both have so much money, and they're very powerful people that people were scared to even talk about. And even till right now, people are scared to talk about Harvey Weinstein. I mean, he's still getting away with it, you know, in much of the term, because a lot of these situations, these cases can't necessarily be proven in an exact way as, say, murder or, you know, or something like that. And these people protect each other. Very powerful people have a lot of money. They own many other people who are in power. And so they stay together. They stick together. Birds of a feather flock together. And that's
Protecting
what they
themselves.
are.
Yeah.
And you can even go back to connecting this to the Clintons, and then connecting the Clintons to the Podestas, and connecting the Clintons to Tony Podesta and his artwork and his weird obsession with, you know, children, sculptures and paintings of children with, like, demonic, satanic looking creatures with like I mean, this is the reality. It's not even,
they're all connected.
Like,
I agree,
can call
fam.
it Pizzagate, you can call it whatever you want. This
whatever.
I'd rather not call it that because it dismisses it. I honestly, like, these are facts. You guys can look up who Tony Podesta is.
Yeah.
How he's a lobbyist. He's a brother to John Podesta. How John Podesta worked with Clinton. Tony Podesta has connections to Clinton. This isn't like a Republican talking point anymore. And it's unfortunate that the right has taken it and made it like into something that it isn't. But there are facts that of what is said that are true, and we need to, like, be able to separate that from the fiction.
Yeah.
So,
well, I still think a lot of establishment loyalists still have a hard time with it. The fact that that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are even seen out there.
Well, they're binary thinkers. They only think left, right, black and white. That's not how the world is.
That's a great analogy. Binary thinkers. Carrie Mark asks, super chat contribution is Tulsi making the next debate. We'll get to that, Carrie Mark. Thank you for the super chat contribution. It's always appreciated on the couch. But we're gonna keep this show rolling when it comes to Epstein, because we have more stuff to unravel. We talked about what has gone on at the Zorro Ranch, and it was one of our good videos. A lot of people really, I think it's our third most video as far as watched when it comes to the Epstein files. Mm-hmm. I talked about what was going on, and I was connecting the dots. And I said, on that particular day, me and Johnny had done some research. We went down here. It was at night. We talked about Mr. Richardson. Mm-hmm. And we said, wait a second, we have to look at Bill Richardson. And then shortly 2 weeks later, Johnny, remember the FBI files came out? Who they indict? Bill Richardson. So, it's all connected.
New Mexico governor?
New Mexico governor, big Clinton loyalist.
This is big.
This is huge. Crazy. So let's give a little recap. Johnny's got a little recap about what happened on the Epstein Ranch, and then we'll talk about it more, because the Epstein Ranch, if you don't remember, fam, we talked about a word called transhumanism. Mm-hmm. Johnny, give it away.
Right. So I'm just going to do a little recap here, what the ranch looks like and everything like that. Here's a good video on that.
This is Jeffrey Epstein's sprawling New Mexico home, known as Zorro Ranch. The compound sits high on a hill. Its gated entrance is shut and monitored by a security camera. The closest town is at least 20 miles away, and locals tell us Epstein occasionally visited a few restaurants, but kept a low profile. Sex abuse allegations against Epstein in New Mexico date back to the mid-90s. An affidavit filed in April alleges Epstein and his supposed ex-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, told a 15-year-old girl to take off all of her clothes and then touched her inappropriately on a massage table at the ranch in 1996. And in a lawsuit filed Tuesday morning, an accuser claims Epstein coerced her to engage in sex acts there between 2007 and 2010. Maxwell has not been charged with a crime and has denied any wrongdoing in the past. After his 2008 Florida conviction on child prostitution charges, Epstein was forced to register as a sex offender. But in New Mexico, he did not suffer the same consequences as he did in other states where he owned homes and faced accusations. Soon after the well-connected Epstein registered as a sex offender here in New Mexico, state officials informed him that he wasn't required to do so. That's despite having to register in Florida and New York. Official documents from 2010 show that just 2 days after Epstein registered in New Mexico, a legal loophole allowed him to be taken off the list. The reason? The victim in his Florida case was not younger than 16.
So
Yeah, not young enough, Johnny.
Yeah, she wasn't young enough. What the fuck kind of bullshit is that?
Not young enough, Johnny. I mean,
wow.
And you could see 1996, 97, this shit was going on. You know, people knew about this. The royal family knew about this. They just didn't care.
Okay, and then here's the second one where a reporter tries to go and knock on the ranch, which is what I was going to try and do with you, Pasa, if we ever got to New Mexico.
In Stanley, New Mexico, are several ranches, farms, and compounds, like Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch. We now know through lawsuits and testimony that at least a couple of women allege that sexual abuse happened here at Zorro Ranch in Stanley, New Mexico. This black SUV tried leaving the ranch, but the driver changed their mind after seeing our cameras. So we tried knocking.
Good afternoon, can I help you?
Yes, my name is Patrick. I'm with KOB, the NBC station Albuquerque. Wanted to know if there's anyone at the house we could talk to?
I'm afraid not. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Is there someone that we could talk to?
That's just sad that he's done that. It just breaks my heart.
Neighbors didn't want to go on camera, but did have some thoughts on the allegations. What's the vibe right now amongst the local community here?
Well, we're pretty private ourselves, you know. We don't really get together. The post office is gone, so we don't get to talk as much as we'd like to. So my friends are kind of shocked.
As we previously reported, New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas has spoken to alleged victims of Epstein in New Mexico. Epstein was never arrested or formally charged.
I think they should lock him up, throw away the key, you know. They have their own way of dealing with people like that in prison.
It's a shame he was one of the people working for them.
Right, so that's kind of like a... there was another thing also in that the first video where he says that the original... he had all this land and it was supposed to be made for cattle, and then he didn't have any cattle or anything. So, you know, it's just more BS that...
Well, we know what he did do with some of that land. He, about a mile away from the head house, the big house, the big complex in the Zorro Ranch, Epstein, you know, funny character, he built a little cowboy village, man. They had little cowboy houses, little cowboy school, little cowboy saloon, and it was right where he used to land the Lolita Express and other planes near his airstrip. It was about a mile located away from the house. But here's the thing, fam. The Daily Mail, which we just talked about before, you know, another British news outlet, they have an exclusive, and they just released this the other day. Bill Clinton was Jeffrey Epstein's closest celebrity mate and frequent the guest house at his New Mexico ranch, with wife Hillary staying at the pedophile's cowboy-themed village, says estate workers. Fam, Hillary Clinton.
Always.
You done been exposed. Today.
She's always tied to, like, these shady people and these pedophiles. Like, it's not a lie. You can look to see, you can always find one of these people, whether it's a Weinstein, Epstein, whether it's the Podesta, you can always find them to be tied to Hillary Clinton. It is I mean, you would think it's a conspiracy theory. You would think it's something under Eyes Wide Shut. But the fact is, these people are a cabal and they protect each other and they do weird things.
Yeah.
So the right has the whole, like, you know, sexual, like, you know, rapist, kind of like, you know, frat boy, kind of like, okay, we're, you know, kind of side of this, right? The liberals, like the Democratic Party, is more into like a fancy, luxurious, artsy kind of like weird scenario. But at the end, right? But at the end of the day, it's the same thing, and that's what this isn't an attack only on the Democrats. I mean, this happens on the right too. They're just not as creative about it. These people are like, oh yeah, let's call it art and put shit like that, which the red shoes tend to signify the devil, by the way, and if you read about it, not as particularly, but in general. And this is a weird thing. And the art that Tony Podesta collects is extremely similar to this. It's just really strange, satanic, many say, just based on the artwork. It's really disturbing. And you can always tie the Clintons to this. And you know what? Not only was Hillary Clinton there, they brought Chelsea Clinton with them.
Yeah. I was going to read the highlights of this thing.
Yeah.
Johnny, let's go to the bullet points at the beginning of the thing. And it says, Bill and Hillary Clinton would stay at Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexico ranch frequently after they left the White House, former estate workers told the Daily Mail TV. So as soon as they got out of the White House, they went to this ranch on a regular basis. And Bill Clinton, the former president, was Epstein's closest celebrity mate, and the Clintons visited Zorro Ranch a whole bunch of times. A former contract who also ran the IT system on the property said. The family never stayed in the main house, but they bunked down in the special cowboy-themed village created by Epstein's, which lies a mile south of his own villa, sources said. Now, fam, there was also a schoolhouse there, which is really, really creepy as well, because once again, this was the estate where the transhumanism was practiced, where he wanted to keep up to 20 young ladies impregnated at different times.
Yeah.
Crazy
Straight
shit.
out of a cult.
The guest homes are next to the other traditional Wild West buildings, including the old schoolhouse and the saloon bar we just talked about, which were all near Epstein's private airstrip when he arrived in his private planes. This according to security expert Jared Kellogg, okay, who brought in long-time standing ranch manager Bryce Gordon to improve the security and set up camera systems in the main house and the cowboy village. Kellogg said, I was saying how cool the house and replicas were, Gordon said. Yeah, they were built for guests, and it was really cool that the Clintons come out and hang out with Epstein. Bill and Clinton and Epstein were once friends, and the August Daily Mail revealed the convicted pedophile had a bizarre portrait of Bill in a blue dress, worn by Hillary. We talked about it again, hanging on the wall of the New York mansion. Clinton has flown on Epstein's private plane, the Loaded Express, several times, but denied ever visiting one of Epstein's residents, apart from the one time at the New York home. So he's denied going to the island. He's denied going to the ranch. And they brought the whole family, Hillary, Chelsea. They were all there, fam.
Yeah.
This is a bombshell. Now, I know this has been talked about for the last couple of days. I'm sorry we're slow to it, but we had the show today to talk about it. But fam, at one point, will the mainstream media and all these other people stop glorifying the Clintons? Howard Stern, he is completely canceled Howard for having on and saying how good would Hillary be. This is a bombshell, is it not? I mean, could somebody please go to freaking jail?
Yeah, no, they're not going to go to jail. That's the thing. Like, they're not going to be held accountable. And yes, that's enraging, but also that's the way the system is right now. Who's in charge? They're in charge still. And that's why I value people like Tulsi Gabbard, who have called them out, who have said, you are the rot of the Democrats. She hasn't even touched the tip of the iceberg with these people. Imagine saying some of these things. Oh, you took your daughter to a pedophile's house. With your husband, like as a big happy family. You think they didn't know? And Bill Clinton has lied several times about how frequently he visited these locations, if at all. So it's very clear that as more information unravels, you're going to see the Clintons involved. I mean, not saying that Donald Trump isn't involved at all, but I definitely see the Clintons far more involved than Donald Trump. I mean, this is like Clinton, like I said, has ties to these characters in ways that others don't.
Well, let me say this much though, Donald Trump has really disappointed me when it's come to this case too as well. I'm not sticking my neck out for him anymore. Yeah, like all the ties seem to point with Epstein and the Clintons and a lot of other people involved. We talked about Michael Kives in the last show in the message to Tulsi and how Michael Kives was involved, that George Webb gave us that thing, and you're talking CAA, all these freaking it's disgusting. It's like one whole friggin' ring. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just tied to everybody, and they all protect each other. They own all the judges. They own all the criminal justice system. Nobody's going to put them behind bars. But at what point do we say as humans enough is enough? As citizens in this society, do we say enough is enough? I got a little bit more creepy, cynical ties too as well, because we talked about the transhumanism that was being practiced on this particular ranch, and we have the Harvard and MIT scientist George Church. He talks about receiving donations from Jeffrey Epstein. Now, 60 Minutes, fam, you'll see they try to tie him, like, don't you feel bad about taking it? I want to know what Jeffrey Epstein was into more than anything. What he gave you money for what? Take a look. This is George Church.
One of the features of the transparency on your website is that you have a list of your donors, so that people can see where the money comes from. And you apparently were not shy about putting Jeffrey Epstein on there. How did you meet him, and what did he fund, and how did that work out?
Yeah, so it's unfortunate. You don't always know your donors as well as you would like, even if other people do. He liked attending meetings with scientists, cutting-edge scientists we're talking. So I would go to meetings mostly because the scientists were there, and he, I didn't feel like I was being particularly bold by listing all of my donors on my website. I still do that, but you never know who's going to end up being have an undesirable aspect of their life.
Do you regret taking that money now?
I regret not knowing more about the donor. I think in general, when people, so-called tainted money can be used for good, like a lot of tobacco money was used for good things. I think the issue is more a matter of not validating them, not calling it out as soon as you see it. But it was one of these things where you first learn about it, and it's just like when you first hear about it, it doesn't sound like it's something serious. And it's only recently that we've found out that there was something serious, or that they come up.
So pretty much there it is, fam. And, once again, this is George Church, MIT, Harvard, they took the money. And I think that, the media is in on it when they try to spin it like, oh, aren't you feeling ashamed for taking the money? We have to look at about who takes money. I want to know what he was giving the money for. Okay, that's what the public deserves to know, especially now that it's tied right when the Zorro Ranch stuff is coming up. And here's a super chat contribution from Gloria Jones, who says, yet the centrists and neo-libs think we're all Alex Jones for bringing this stuff up and calling out the Clintons. No, we're not. What the hell is going on? You're making crazy donations to scientists. Then you're practicing transhumanism. You're using children as currency. The Clintons are frequently visiting you. Prince Andrew's involved. He's been connected for so long. Harvey Weinstein's there. Everybody's connected, and yet nobody's going to friggin' jail, fam.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the reality. They control everything. They're not going to go to jail. I think it's going to take us demanding in these next elections and beyond that these people be held accountable.
We got to eat the rich. And Carrie Mark for the super chat contribution says, pedo wedding? Chelsea? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And she married some friggin' psycho megalomaniac hedge fund manager. Yeah. And last, before I go get to this, Johnny, you have something else before we go to the local?
Just to emphasize, George Church was a geneticist. So that's what kind of like he was kind of investing in, throwing money at genetics things.
Which is even creepier.
So, like, when Alex Jones talks about all the fetuses and all this other stuff, it's like now people are going, what the hell is going on now? Did they have a point? I don't know. You're practicing something. I don't know. You're practicing some seriously crazy shit. You're trying to reverse the effects of aging, right? I mean,
I mean, yeah, that's fine, but do you have to be so creepy about it? I mean,
I know.
It's like not a bad thing necessarily, but it's who's trying to do this. Who's going to control that if that ever comes about? That's the thing.
And I just want to say something. You know the guy who was knocking on the door, Johnny, that was a local TV station, right? And we bag on American media so bad. But, you know, some of the local channels, and here it is from... I think it's from CBS or is it NBC, Richmond, Virginia. They do some good work. They went out there. They found another survivor. They did a little story. We'll watch the first couple minutes of it. Maybe didn't go to the end, but just the beginning of this. CBS, local, Richmond, Virginia.
CBS this morning. One of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers, who said she had an inside view of his world, is giving us disturbing new details of what happened. Maria Farmer was a young artist in the 1990s when she met Epstein. She and her younger sister, Annie, claim Epstein sexually assaulted them, and Farmer is now suing Epstein estate over the alleged incident. Farmer says she was the first known accuser to alert law enforcement to Epstein a decade before his first arrest. In her first TV interview, Farmer talks about why she's still seeking justice even after Epstein's death.
I want people to know that these women are strong and they're still standing.
The women Maria Farmer started drawing this month are all alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein. She sketched 7 so far, including her younger sister.
I tried for a long time to just not think about them. And then I decided I can't ignore it anymore. I'm going to draw them, I'm going to paint them, I'm going to glorify them.
She'd been unable to paint for more than 20 years, she says, after her own alleged assault by Epstein and his close friend, Ghislaine Maxwell.
And that's what Ghislaine and Jeffrey did. They took away the thing I was supposed to do. And they did that to everybody.
Farmer was a promising young artist when she says she met Epstein and Maxwell at an art show in New York City in 1995. Epstein bought this painting of hers that night and, she says, eventually offered her a job. The 26-year-old soon found herself working the front desk in his palatial New York City townhouse.
Did you see young women coming into the house?
Yes, I saw many, 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 many.
All day long?
All day long. I saw Ghislaine going to get the women. She went to places like Central Park. I was with her a couple times in the car. She would say, "Stop the car," and she would dash out and get a child.
What did she say she was doing when she did this?
Getting Victoria's Secret models.
Farmer found Epstein's behavior mysterious.
One day I said to Jeffrey, "What goes on in this house? Like, why are you always upstairs?" And he said, "I'll show you." And so he took me up there in the elevator, and we went. He showed me all of Ghislaine's quarters.
She had her own suite in the house.
Oh, she had a whole floor.
Ultimately, Farmer says, Epstein led her to his bathroom.
And there was a marble, like, altar thing over here, and he said that's where he gets his massages.
Epstein told her the whole house was wired with pinhole cameras and took her into the media room where they were monitored.
I looked on the cameras and I saw toilet, toilet, bed, bed, toilet, bed. I'm like, I am never going to use the restroom here, and I'm never going to sleep here.
Was there videotape?
Oh, yeah, it was all video all the time, yeah. And
Sorry, that was interesting.
No, listen, it's 6 minutes. Go back. If we can leave a tag for them, Johnny, I'm sorry if I didn't do that, but yeah, we'll probably do it in a comment down below. But once again, here goes a local CBS channel in Richmond, Virginia. What we would say back in the East Coast, doing work, fam, doing work. And you can see that picture that's coming. The Epstein picture. I really think that we should make like cards and send them out, mail people. Some of the pictures of the victims that she painted, and remind people that this is what happened. That your leaders, your oligarchs, the people we're supposed to be entrusted to keep us safe, are using children as currency, and they're continuing to do it. They're not paying a price, and these are the faces.
And nobody's talking about it except independent media. They're not. The only thing mainstream media said was Trump this, Trump that. They never said anything beyond that.
Yeah. Krillin 876 on the MCSE network. Thank you for the super chat contribution. It's always appreciated on the couch. Alex Jones was right about a lot of stuff. Yes, I'm not really ready to walk on water with the man.
I don't want to say he was right about a lot of stuff. But, I would say this is the problem. What happens is people like Alex Jones take some truth that's like little parts of the truth, and then they grab it and then they twist it around, and then it becomes complete fiction. And then what happens is it hurts us in the end, because then when anytime you refer to it, it's completely dismissed as something Alex Jones said.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with Alex Jones. I think he creates some sort of snippets of truth, he exposes, and then he like messes it up by putting his own narrative on it.
Yeah.
And then the truth needs to be the truth, period. And like that's all it should be.
I think the whole mentality of never trusting your government is okay. And we can question things, and that's all right. So
but you have to have evidence for that.
I agree. I'm not going to get into a conversation about it. I don't watch enough of him to know and to make an opinion and stuff. But at the end of the day, I think we need to all sit here and say, okay, I'm not saying that he's right. I'm saying that we as a society have to accept the fact that our government has been lying to us. They're continuing to lie to us. They have some creepy, dirty shit going on, fam, and we need to bring it to heel. You know, when Clinton said that they need to be brought to heel, the Clintons need to be brought to heel. The oligarchs need to be brought to heel. Prince Andrew needs to be brought to heel. You know, if Jeffrey Epstein's still alive, to heel. And you can see this whole chat right now just going crazy, talking about people out there. No one should be above the law, and we should start seeing a lot more evidence of a lot of these things coming forward. Okay. Also, Dave LH, thank you for the Super Chat contribution. It's always appreciated on the couch. Can anyone suggest resources for researching what transhumanist movement is really about? If somebody can do that on the thread, please do. Alex Jones shut down, and who is next? Well, that's the whole problem. And I think Fia has said this from the get-go. Freedom of speech. If you shut down one person, who are they coming from next?
I can't stand Alex Jones, but the moment you shut him down, they're gonna, and they already did, come after us. Progressives as well. So
yeah, we're getting shadow banned left and right. You know, thank you so much for joining on today, guys. We have almost 100 people watching on the MCSC network and about 250 watching on the Convo Couch YouTube, and of course on the Facebook, we have 23. So do you have anything else right there? Okay, you got some timestamp here and some stuff. You got some music. Go ahead.
Creepy music.
What do you mean? What? You got what? What was it? That was your last part, right?
That was my last part of the...
All right, bet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there has been new footage of the island. And we're going to show you. These guys were able to get on the island themselves.
How?
They just took a boat and
got there. They took a boat and got there. We're going to show you the footage.
Who is it?
We are change.org. Mm-hmm. So we're going to show this all. Let me get the title up. On the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look. I'm going to stop the music real quick.
I like the music.
Yeah.
I know.
So surprising.
Well, hello from Jeffrey Epstein's island. Walk around the whole island, there's like no one here. Very interesting place. The swimming pool looks like it's in good shape, so oddly quiet here.
Come on, golf carts, get the fuck out.
What? Shit.
Okay, that was a part I wanted to show. Hold on. I skip ahead.
Hurry up, you guys. Get your asses on there.
There they are, getting on the island.
Jeff and Luke. Holy shit.
This dude, he's like in shorts and shit. You know what I'm saying? Look, so that's the island, and they're in it. And they're in there. There's a sundial. What was that?
Some sort of sculpture.
Gargoyle.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, crap.
This is Rukadowski of WeAreChange.org here with Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante, off yet another crazy, insane adventure, this time to Jeffrey Epstein's private island, Little St. James. And there's a lot of things we're going to have to get into in this video, but I don't even know where to begin. I mean, just even being here, it was difficult finding a boat operator. Jeff, just start it off from here.
Well, we were in the area, and we thought, no one's ever gone on this island. No real media, no anyone really that I know of has ever gone on. We only get the information from the government and the mainstream media, and those are the two things you can never trust with information. So we're like, well, I guess we have to go and check this out and see if it's even real. For all we know, there might not be anything there. Like, it's always lies what they tell us. And for all we know, there could still be some activity going on there. Maybe Bill Clinton's there, maybe Jeffrey Epstein's there. No one's looking into this. So we took it upon ourselves to, well, let's do it. But it wasn't easy. Most captains said they wouldn't take us to the island. There's all kinds of, you're in different countries on different islands, so we had to work our way around that, make sure we weren't doing too many illegal things all at once. And yeah, just rolling up to the island and actually seeing that temple, which is there, so we have verified that. This is a lot of verification of what is actually there, was pretty surreal.
Yeah, and it was also kind of a little daunting, a little scary kind of going in there because, you know, in some jurisdictions you could just get shot and killed for going on private property. And this is, someone that was extremely powerfully connected to presidents, prime ministers, royalty, and was able to evade law enforcement for some of them.
Is that Medusa?
Yeah.
All right. For the rest of the video, I'm just going to be kind of stopping and starting. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show. Here's a little bit more.
Being in the area, I'm like, we have to see what's going on here because there was other drone footage showing that there was stuff moved before the U.S. federal government came in. And then, as we know, the U.S. federal government, the federal authorities can't be trusted here. For over a decade, they let Jeffrey Epstein.
So they're inside an office there, which is interesting.
Yeah.
There's a little thing that says keep crazy and carry on. 2 desks there. I wonder who was working there.
Go on and be totally free. He not only had a private wing of his own jail cell, he was able to leave during the day. He was supposed to check in with parole officers that he never did check in. But even the journey here of trying to find a boat, we were able to find out some other information about how this wasn't even that big of a secret on this island at all.
Yeah, talking to the locals, people have lived here for 20 years. They're like, oh, everyone knew. You just see the 12, 13-year-old girls waiting on the dock. They'd come get picked up, go to Epstein Island. So it's incredibly out in the open. And, you know, people like Bill Clinton came here, 50 times? A huge amount of times.
Remember this door? Remember that picture of the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
just like
when
we
you
go
see
to
it,
Bilderberg,
there's
right?
really
The
nothing. I don't know.
Nothing there now.
Media doesn't
cover
any of that stuff. They don't cover, because we knew about this. I know we were talking about this for years about Epstein Island. We were talking about it before everyone heard about it in the mainstream news. And we're talking about how Bill Clinton's going there, Prince Andrew's going there, and no one it's really, it was just like so out in the open. They were so brazen that they're like, well, no one can arrest us. We're involved with all the people who would arrest us. So rolling up to the island was pretty surreal, and we did not know what to expect. We had because no one had ever done this before. So we didn't know if there was going to be 100 DE agents, FBI agents, all armed. We didn't know if there was anyone on the island. So we had all these plans.
It says Langley Resort, so one of our plans, out of many plans, was literally just showing up there, and if someone stops, it'd be like, oh yeah, we're here with Langley, you didn't get the memo, and then being like, hey, you got to talk to my supervisor, Jeff. Jeff, you would have, there was 4 other people, we had so many different plans, all of them fell through last minute, all of them didn't work.
You know, maybe I'll just turn it off there, and then we'll play the Epstein music, but I just kind of want to look at the footage of everything. You know, the door was painted on. You know, that the temple is just a square. It's like cardboard. They look inside also here eventually. I don't know why they cut this up. They were really kind of on the surface. I give them credit for having the balls to go over there. And
I would have had a heart attack trying to go on that island.
I would love to go.
Yeah, you would.
I would absolutely love
to go. It's not the evil spirits. It's just that somebody would shoot you. No. I would assume. Yeah, I mean, you're not an American. Ooh. I mean, you're not. That's not America over there. I
mean, if they went and didn't.
They
get
said
shot.
You're trespassing on the property without permission. Shoot you, boom, done. That's what I would be afraid of. I would have never gone on that island because of that.
There's more temple footage. Man, I would have. Man, if this was me producing this, you know, I would have, you know, gone into the temple. I would have tried to see if there was anything that sounded hollow, you know, in the walls or in the floor or anything, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
They were trying to rush through that kind of thing.
I mean, I get it.
Too.
You must be scared, scared as hell to be on there. I mean,
and dude, how does it not have like 5 million views? It's got almost 1 million.
It's only got 946.
You know that.
And that was in October. Okay, this is interesting that they went to the trash.
I
was like, that's genius. Okay, and you can see there's what is that? Air ducts. So where do they take that from?
Yeah.
Is my question. And then he kind of looks into the trash, but doesn't actually like open it all the way. I would have opened it, looked at the items in there. I feel like there's a couple of things they've missed. You know, I would have been asking a lot more questions. Okay, look. And they're like, all these construction trucks and an ambulance. That's the remember when we saw the square and we were like, what's that place? We were like, what are they doing there? You know, it's like.
You're talking about the original temple or no?
Yeah, when the first drone footage we saw, we were looking at the this kind of space where it has the mounds around it in a square. It has a dirt mound around it in a square, which is what they're in now. All those trucks weren't there before, basically, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But they have a legit LSJ for Little St. John Island. These guys it's really weird that they had they go back to the temple here. Little JE for Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, you're there already on the island, right? So it's like, come on. I mean, I get it though.
Stop hating. At least they went.
Yeah, at least they went. Like, what is that guy? Look at this guy.
Just gargoyles and different type of statues. They're gargoyles.
Yeah, those
I want to know the symbolism behind it. And then this was really interesting. It was like a tusk chair, tusk table.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Tony Podesta stuff. A lot actually.
Probably sit in that chair naked, you know, and have everybody dress up. Weird stuff he did.
I hate how you say naked.
Yeah. There's a picture there. I would have fucking stole that picture.
I would have lifted up the whole blue tarp and seen what the whole
you
setup
guys
looks
won't
like.
even go on the island because you're scared to get shot.
No, if I was there at that point, I would have thrown that tarp off.
At that point, yeah.
At that point, it's like, fuck it. You gotta go. See, like that shit over there. It's just crazy stuff.
I'm surprised he didn't get in trouble for anything.
Well, yeah. Eventually, some people chased him off the island.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Go get towards the end when they get chased off that island.
Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. A lot of construction, a lot of trash. Like they said, the federal government went in and I'm sure they took out a bunch of stuff. I 100% would have opened that. 100%. They tried opening it. It's a bunch of trash. Little hangout spot there. There's another weird spot. Where's the cow? Come on, guys.
You can't fast forward.
Little area with
koi.
There's a cow. It's like a
the stand-up
plastic
cow.
There's like decoration or a point of reference, perhaps.
You're gonna see this cow. Then you're gonna see this bench. That's my sacrifice area for children 13 years old. Go past those two areas. Sorry.
And then here's when they're getting chased off, so we'll listen to that.
laughing at his friend.
Yeah,
with no
because he's
shoes.
running with
Jeff,
Forrest
Jeff,
Gump.
Jeff, Jeff.
Did you see the people here? They pull up. Yeah, see right there in the golf cart. Right there.
We're off up front. Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Thank fucking God.
Super
Okay.
chat contribution. Morgan Carey says Mel Gibson, children are food in Hollywood.
Yeah, which is
Oh,
disturbing, but
jeez.
it's true.
So these guys busted crazy, went on the island, went around there, took a look. Instead, just think if Hillary had become president, none of this shit would ever have come to light. And just, you can take that to the bank.
Yeah.
You know, there was no talk about Jeffrey Epstein when Obama and Hillary were in control.
That's very true.
You know, and once again, not giving props to the man who's in charge now, because I think he's done a shit job. You know, even appointing Barr to work on this case when William Barr's father gave Epstein the job, his first teaching job. There is a conflict of interest, and there are way too many cover-ups going on. And the fact that what happened in that New York facility was able to happen is just wrong, and that goes on Donald Trump. We are changed. What do you got?
So again, yeah, just want to give credit to them. We are change. You know, those guys did great work going on there.
Yeah.
Getting footage out there, you know?
Awesome.
Whether you like their ideology or not, they had the cojones to go
Yeah.
over there and get on that island. We talked
Yep.
about it. Yeah. So, do we have anything
Awesome.
else, Johnny, for Epstein?
Other than that, breaking news.
Breaking news, fam.
Breaking news. So Tulsi Gabbard decided that she's not going to attend the debates regardless of whether she qualifies for the polls or not. The polls, you know, have been a bunch of BS. They've normally qualified those polls, and then they've decided those don't qualify just for Tulsi. It's really, really maddening. But Pasta, you want to go ahead and read what you said?
It says, for a number of reasons, I've decided not to attend the December 19th debate, regardless of whether or not there are qualifying polls. I instead chose to spend that precious time directly meeting and hearing from the people of New Hampshire and South Carolina.
So, yes, she's going to be, of course, in New Hampshire. She's actually rising in the polls there. She got about 5% in some South Carolina polls, 4% in others. So she is rising. But here's where I disagree with Tulsi. I think she largely, she's the number one Googled candidate every single debate that she attends. So I think the debates have actually helped her because she has exposed a lot of the Democratic establishment, and people both on the left and right love that. And when she's not there, that just doesn't really happen. I would like to see Bernie do something like that, but I honestly, the way who he is being advised by lends me to know that he's not going to do that as the way she does it. There's also, you know, the idea that he can't, of course, go after certain people. He can go after Buttigieg, though, absolutely. You know, but yeah, Tulsi will be missed in the debates. I think her voice is extremely important. I agree with her, like, that this is a bunch of BS, and I do think the majority of Americans don't watch the debates, but I do think still, even if they don't watch it, they're like, oh, we know who's in it, so they relate that to, oh, who's making it. And if they don't see you there, it's people who don't pay attention to politics are like, well, oh, I thought she was out, oh, I thought, like, even if they don't watch them, the fact that you do make the debates is, I think, a big deal. Now, Donald Trump, of course, won without attending the debates, but that's the Republican Party. The Democratic Party is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And
he
so,
didn't go to one debate.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Now she's not going to go to two. It's, I mean, I don't know. I would have said I will go if I qualify, but if I don't qualify, then I'm going to blatantly continue talking about how fraudulent this is and how this isn't democratic, and I'm going to continue exposing them, and then that's when I would say, blah.
I'm glad she didn't do it. I'm glad she decided to do this time, because to me it was more evident than ever, because what they did in the Boston Globe poll when they denied it, they wouldn't give an answer. They were going to do this to her anyways. Kamala just dropped out, and once again, taking a guess. This is an opinion. Kamala dropped out, and they weren't going to let her go back on stage and get a chance for them to harm their last two chances, which are Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg, because Tulsi's already made notions to go after him. She's already gone after Pete. She tried to go to Elizabeth, but they went to a commercial break. So I looked at this as a point like, hey, man, I'm going to tell them I cancel them before they cancel me.
I disagree. I think she really stands to gain a lot by going to the debates. Just only her, because she has that now that reputation of going after these people, and it's she's always trending when she goes there, and that trending itself is, I think, what has also gotten her a lot of media attention. That trending. So I do think it's good that she is going after the vote actually on the ground and stuff, and going to talk to the people. I think that's a smart thing to do, in case she doesn't make it. But I think I would have waited to see, okay, if I don't make it, then that's on you guys, and I'm going to show you how bad this is. And I think the ratings are probably going to be lower.
Yeah,
because
if Bernie would not go to these debates and say, I'm boycotting debates too,
their
ratings would fall off a shelf.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tulsi should still try and go. I know it's BS that the polls are BS, but
well, she made
we
that
need somebody
decision
up there. We need somebody up there to go after Warren and Buttigieg and all of them. You know? She still needs to go after Warren.
And she's the trending. Like I said, she gets the attention of people for doing that. She's definitely. I mean, she was on SNL because of the debates. They played a character of her.
Yeah.
Because of that's a big deal. I think that's as petty and stupid and showmany as the whole thing is. I think it really, really helps her.
What if she is the most Googled candidate and she doesn't even attend? Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something, but I don't think that's
watching the CONVO Couch. Thank you, Manny, for the super contribution. No, I don't think it's going to happen either. But it is a great theory of Manny, and I'm kind of curious to know what she's doing that night.
Also,
she's talking to voters.
A lot of Americans think that this is the last debate, but it's the last debate of this year.
Yeah.
They're still going to determine how many more debates until for 2020,
Yeah. But you just wait. You just watch.
It hasn't come out yet, so we gotta wait for the DNC rules.
Well, you just watch to see how they're gonna say, so Tulsi's done because she didn't make this. This is what they're gonna say. This is what the establishment's gonna say, and this is unfortunately many people who aren't politically savvy, who don't watch independent media, they're gonna echo that and say, I thought she was done. She didn't make the debates. Blah blah blah. Same way they echoed that when Bernie Sanders got sick. Yeah. That's what's gonna happen. Unfortunately. That is the system we're in.
There's a chance that somebody's going to make a flip it, and there's going to people that are going to reach out and say, whoa, she canceled them before they can cancel her. So maybe they can flip that a little bit and reach out to certain people like those Senator to Republican people who are like, wow, she dissed the DNC. Maybe she's just going to be able to pile up more of those people. Gloria Jones, thank you for the super chat contribution. Says, we need 2015 Bernie, kick out Ro Khanna. Hey, that ain't the only person he's got to kick out is Ro Khanna.
It's not Ro Khanna, trust me.
But Ro Khanna sucks.
There's other people that are far worse.
Yeah.
After I've seen him on Jimmy Dore, and I think Ro Khanna, he was pretending to be progressive.
No, he's progressive.
After seeing him on Jimmy Dore
he's got some
the other
very
day,
controversial decisions.
Ro Khanna, you're canceled.
He's progressive, but he is he's worried. He's worried about his career.
Yeah, he's an
and that's something that is noted.
Well, he doesn't like Tulsi, and that was the whole thing with Jimmy Dore.
And let's
I don't
also
think he doesn't like Tulsi. I think he's just being
he attacked Tulsi, and then that's what Jimmy was going after.
Well, he was responding back to the Caravan article from Peter.
Yeah, he promoted fake news.
But a lot of people, including John Cusack, have given credibility to Peter Frederick. And even though he has said very, very hateful, racist, anti-LGBTQ things, if you read his writing before, he is nobody. We have caught him on the show multiple times.
Yeah, he never has proof of
He has no proof of anything. But these people don't do their research. And if you retweet something, you may say retweets aren't endorsements, but in a way, if you retweet something or like something, that shows support.
And Ro Khanna did sign on as a co-sponsor to the Hong Kong Democracy and Human Rights 2019 version, which removed language allows protesters to be violent. And he shouldn't be co-sponsoring that thing.
Tulsi's foreign policy by far is needs to be in the next administration, even if she's not president.
She stands alone. I mean, she's better than Trump. She's better than anybody on that stage. Bernie is the second best thing we have as far as foreign policy is concerned. But to have some of these people in the staff have just made some bad moves. Fayez, Roe, it's what I'm saying. You have to think geopolitically when you enter into this arena when it comes to foreign policy, geopolitically, because the majority of the people out there, just because you hear Democrats saying Assad's a demon and he's awful and Putin's this and stuff like that, that's how much they hate, how tribal they are. That's how much they hate Donald Trump. No, we want our leaders talking to these people regardless.
Right.
You know what I'm
Regardless of if they are a dictator or not, you have to talk to them.
You talk
That's
to
the
them.
point. Kennedy to Khrushchev, etc.
Absolutely, and nobody does that better than Tulsi Gabbard. Johnny, got anything else to follow us up with before we get on out of here? We're going on an hour.
I was just seeing what the mainstream media was saying about that Tulsi decided not to attend the debate. I was just looking at the headlines. It looks like they're not smear. They're not smear headlines, as far as I see.
Some of you, if you go
No,
on
because
Twitter,
they
you'll
don't
see
want
some
her
of
to
this
go
stuff.
on, though.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, great. Like, yay. Nobody's going to go after Warren. Nobody's going to go after Buttigieg. It's really going to be a boring debate.
Because I don't know if Bernie will go after Buttigieg. I think once again, the people advising him will probably say, don't go after a gay man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I swear.
Yeah.
No, I hope other people can advise him to do otherwise. Can we just show
we got the Patreons. Let's get the Patreons up here. We have new Patreons up here for November and a few. The last two are in December.
Thank you guys very much for your support.
Losing it.
Lost in the Fog
Thank
of
you so
War.
much.
Susan Wiggin, Kyle Warden, Bethlehem Tessafay, Tony Watches Closely, Burns, Mitch Osborne, Brandon Smith,
Bethlehem.
Connie Kumajan,
Go ahead.
Larry Janey, Pete DeLorenzo, Zena, Laura Genovese.
Number 11, PDD. We love you. Di Lorenzo, okay? And Brandon Smith that said upped his pledge. Thank you so much for jumping up your pledge, for giving us extra money. Thank you so much. Those are our Patriots.
Yes.
And Zena and Laura Genovese, they are Genovese.
Genovese.
They are from December. They're the first two for December. Thank you so
guys.
much for jumping on in there.
Yes. And we will continue posting stuff. We will continue, bringing you guys new stuff, new formats, etc. Anyway.
That's it.
That's it, fam.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Do we mention any Convo Couch? We have people still cite Peter as a source on and offline.
Yeah, I always try to shut that down really quickly, but
What does FWIW mean?
FWIW for I don't know.
Debate night town hall Tulsi live stream. Hey man, I'd love to see that. I don't know if she's going to do that. Yeah, I don't know if she's going to do that. Well, once again, it would be great if, like I said, if Bernie dropped out and went and joined them in the town hall. That's not going to happen. So, I mean, for a lot of progressives, will still be paying attention to what Bernie does on that night. So, unfortunately, I think she's going to probably just hang low, go knocking door to door, go into a coffee shop, talk to people, and we'll see what happens from there.
Absolutely.
For Pasta Jardula
and Fiorella,
Johnny Sue, he's got the music playing on the 1s and 2s.
Convo out.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Peace.